in August. So, need to make me happy. Like so many of my friends are Leos. Not so much here. There we go. And we are live on YouTube. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our Saturday morning live. And we are studying A Course in Miracles. So right now I'd like to ask Iris to pray us in, if you will.
Good morning, Lynn. Good morning, everyone. And I will pray us in. I am here only to be truly helpful. I am here to represent Him who sent me. I do not have to worry about what to say or what to do, because He who sent me will direct me. I am content to be wherever He wishes, knowing He goes there with me. I will be healed as I let Him teach me to heal. Amen.
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 Thank you. Thank you. All right. All things work together for good. There are no exceptions except in the ego's judgment. The ego exerts maximal vigilance about what it permits into awareness, and this is not the way a balanced mind holds together. The ego is thrown farther off balance because it keeps its primary motivation from your awareness and raises control rather than sanity to predominance. The ego has every reason to do this, according to the thought system which gave rise to it and which it serves. Sane judgment would inevitably judge against the ego and must be obliterated by the ego in the interest of its self-preservation. That's the first paragraph of this. I know we read that last week. I just felt like reading it and just laughing about it, because this is the ego is just trying to hold this imbalanced mind together, and it's like when you put a big blanket in your washing machine, and it starts going into the whirly cycle, and all of a sudden your washing machine is dancing across the floor, boom, 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 because it's out of balance, boom, 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 boom. That's what's going on in your mind right now. When we're having a conversation between ourselves and ourselves about the what's going on in our lives and what's going on in the world, and we are so caught up in the insanity. And we just, in fact, we're so terrified about what would happen if we let go of the insanity. Because what if it turns out they're right? What if it turns out, what they're doing is the right thing, and what I'm thinking is the wrong thing. Wow, whoa, no, let's not think that. So yeah, so uh, the ego wants to kill us, basically. Anyway, it's cracking me up. So that was paragraph 1, and I don't know if anybody has any comments they'd like to share about that before we move on and read paragraph 2 as a group. Yeah, Rafi.
The first sentence says it all. All things work together for good. The rest of the stuff that comes up out of your mind can just be ignored or passed off because it doesn't mean anything. All thoughts have no substance, even though the ego, tries to fight for its own existence and all of that other stuff. We're talking about a concept here. You can't go to the store and buy, half a pound of ego. So what are we dealing with here? Then go back to the first sentence. All things work together for good. In fact, all kind of says it right there. So that's what I got out of it. Thank you.
I guess if I unmuted myself, you could hear me talking. So yeah, so all things work together for good. And if I think something is not working together for the good, that's what I need to look at. It's the ego mind that is trying to be in control.
Yeah.
And the one word that it raises control rather than sanity to predominance is exactly what the ego does. And
Rob, well,
go ahead, Ravi.
no, so Robert Adams calls it false imagination.
Yeah,
If you think something is wrong, it's false. It's false. It's imaginary. You could, because the reality is that all things work together for good.
exactly. Anybody else have any thoughts about that? Well, so let's read paragraph 2. Who would like to read paragraph 2 for us? All right, Iris, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. So, paragraph 2. A major source of the ego's off-balance state is its lack of discrimination between the body and the thoughts of God. Thoughts of God are unacceptable to the ego because they clearly point to the non-existence of the ego itself. The ego therefore either distorts them or refuses to accept them. It cannot, however, make them cease to be. It therefore tries to conceal not only, quote, unacceptable body impulses, but also the thoughts of God, because both are threatening to it. Being concerned primarily with its own preservation in the face of threat, the ego perceives them as the same. By perceiving them as the same, the ego attempts to save itself from being swept away, as it would surely be in the presence of knowledge. So, yeah, I mean, what comes to me is like a major source of the ego's off balance state, which I really relate to. A major source of the ego's off balance state is its lack of discrimination between the body and the thoughts of God. So, yeah, like it's kind of in a practical sense, it's like I think it would be more like when we are going about our day and we will get triggered 100% throughout the day. We really will. Like so like when we get triggered, like speaking for myself, I do notice like when the triggers come, when the trigger happens, like the emotion comes up like just by itself. Like it's just, it comes up by itself really strongly. Like it's that I can't even stop it. It just comes up by itself. And but I think where like I really need to become more aware is when the emotion rises up, when it's so overpowering. If someone would tell me, oh, it's fine, I would just not believe it. I mean, even if my own mind tells me that this is good, this is all things work together for the good, I would not want to listen to that. I would not believe that. I would not want to listen to that. So that's like I think it's like, so just wait for the ocean to calm down, like the storm to come, because it will, like the emotion will pass, and like just not to react on that, just to observe and just wait and let it calm, let it go by. I mean, let it calm like the wave of an ocean. And then, then I can hear the right mind, I can hear the voice for God. Then I'll be, I mean, I can, once that emotion like calms down a bit, and then I can make a sane choice. I can make like a sane choice. But so that reminds me of me, like the off balance state. So this is like something I'm very familiar with. Like that's the off balance state. A major source of the ego's off balance state is its lack of discrimination between the body and the thoughts of God. And at that point, the thoughts of God are completely unacceptable. They're like, I mean, it's just as I mean, in that state, if someone would say to me like, "Oh, this is like, for the highest good," blah blah, I would not want to listen to that. It would just be like, this is not helping. Like it's I don't believe this, and it's not helping me. And but when it comes down, then and when it does come down, then I'll be able to see, like, I'm willing to see things differently. I'm willing to see things, like it's like the willingness will come, like I'm willing to see things differently. And then like another perspective will be provided. Like I'll be able to see things a little bit differently, like than I did. And that's really, I'm just saying that to remind myself, because this this suggestion that we receive, like, don't react, it's really really important, especially like for me. It's just so helpful. Don't react, because I'm just reacting to like my own my own images, like my thoughts are images I have made. And I'll hand back to Lynn.
Wow, thank you so much, Iris. Yeah, and this whole idea of these unacceptable thoughts that are it's unacceptable to the ego, and then uh, we experience unacceptable body impulses. And a lot of people will think, well, he's because unacceptable whatever sounds like it's sinful, uh, but unacceptable body impulses, this these you get it, that gut feeling, knowing how to protect yourself, defend yourself, uh, uh, come up with to control the situation. Uh, those are all body impulses. They're not mind impulses. The mind itself is incapable of uh, of judging one thing against another. So, but we're not thinking with the mind of God. We're thinking with this off balanced ego. That's yeah. I loved everything you said, Iris. It just made so much sense. Um, so yeah, does anybody else have any thoughts about this paragraph? How do you do this? How are we doing this? And and what are the unacceptable thoughts um, to the ego? And also, what are the unacceptable body impulses? I mean, there's so much packed into this because he's really talking about what, how we, how I live in the world, how I experience, how I deal with situations and people. This is really what we're talking about. This is this unbalanced state that we appear to be in. Rafi, please.
When Iris said about not reacting, that was ideal, really. Because if you're not reacting, you're the witness. You're
Yeah.
watching it. Your awareness. And you can't be that of which you are aware. You got to be the awareness. And the awareness doesn't have problems. Only ego mind and its complications have problems and thoughts and conflicts and duality. I like it and I don't like it at the same time. I love you, I hate you, and all that stuff. You just stand back and watch it and don't react to it. And who was it? Ramana Maharshi made a big point about just standing back and don't react. Just be the watcher. Just be the witness. Just be the awareness. When you just be the awareness, we are the awareness. It's proof that we are the awareness. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for that. And that's really all we're being asked to do. So we're not even being asked to interpret or judge or anything. We're just being asked to be aware. I'm trying to turn the page with the wrong computer. So does anybody else have any comments on this? And Bob has posted in the chat, all things work out in the end. If they have not worked out, it is not the end. Yeah, and I've heard that before as well. Um, yeah. Iris, yes, please go ahead.
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you, Rafi. I'm gonna like Google that from Ramana Maharshi because I really love those like Eastern teachings as well. I really do love that. And the awareness that is really like it's just really I just kind of had an aha because it's not like the awareness is a distant state, it's happening there in the trigger. And like when this is happening, in the trigger, and like I've got a little bit of like just a dim kind of recognition that okay, this is happening, it's a trigger, I'm getting triggered, and I'm watching this and it does take a while. It doesn't just go away within a second. It does take like a little bit of time, even like an hour or something. Like it does take a little bit of time, but like I can literally see it. And but I'm not like speaking to somebody else just to save them, but I'm just seeing like what's going on. And then it goes away, and that's fine. But while that thing is getting watched, like the storm the storm in the teacup, like while it's getting watched, that's it. That's the awareness that is watching. I really love that. I think that's amazing. I think that is the best meditation too. Like I'm just reminding myself that is the best meditation too, because I'm just watching it, so because I know I always wish to myself, oh, I wish I don't get these triggers. I wish I can have a completely like balanced day when I don't get triggered. And but I need to remember, as Dove says, like to be grateful for my triggers, and just to be grateful because when the trigger is happening and those emotions are coming up, I'm the awareness, I'm the witness. And I really appreciate that. And I'll hand back to Lynn.
Oh my goodness. Thank you, Iris. Bing, 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 bing. I love it. Oh my gosh. Let us just total self-aware. It just reminded me of this song from the musical Hair called I think it's called My Body, but I'll look it up and I'll play it after we turn off the thing because it's all a total. I remember that uh, on a rocket to the fourth dimension, total self-awareness, the intention. And that's that's exactly what I'm hearing from you. So I love that. Okay, so anybody else have any thoughts about this paragraph? All right, let us just go on to paragraph 3. Who would like to read paragraph 3?
I'll take it.
Thank you, Rafi.
Any thought system that confuses God and the body must be insane. Hello. Yet this confusion is essential to the ego, which judges only in terms of threat or non-threat to itself. Yeah, ego's always coming from a victim point of view. I'm not the cause, I'm the effect. Right. In one sense, the ego's fear of God is at least logical, since the idea of him does dispel the ego. But fear of the body with which the ego identifies so closely makes no sense at all. Well, the body is just a projected thought image. How could it be a threat? It's here to serve just like everything else. It's not even real.
Yeah, yeah. And of course, I love how this cracks me up. Jesus is so funny to me, honestly. He says, um, in one sense, the ego's fear of God is at least logical, since the idea of him does dispel the ego. It just cracks me up. Oh, yeah, I guess the ego would be afraid if it thinks it's going to die. So, but that's it. You know, the ego has got us convinced that we're going to die. You know, if we don't hold on to this thought, this world, these thoughts, these opinions, these ideas, these things that make me an individual person with a personality, and oh yeah, I am uh this one thing that is unique in all the world. It's me. Look. Uh, and it's true. I mean, I'm not, I say that laughingly, but it is absolutely true that uh, what what we are, what I am, is unique in of all the universes, because I am that part of God that I am. I am the part of God that I am, and there is no other part of God that's like me. That's why he says God is incomplete without you, because there is no part of God that's not that is the same as me, that can fit into the same whole, that the jigsaw puzzle piece, again, back to the jigsaw puzzle, that once you lose that one piece, that puzzle is never going to be complete. That puzzle will never be complete without that piece. And you can make another piece, you can carve it out, you can paint in, the parts or whatever, try to make it, but you can never replace the piece that's missing. So what I am absolutely is the individual part of God that cannot be replicated, cannot be uh, dissolved, cannot be changed. Yes, that is true. But that's not all that I am. I mean, I mean, I'm this ego thing that I think that I am, this body thing that I think that I am. That's not it. I'm just watching it, like Rafi and Iris are saying. I'm just watching it. I think it's me, but I'm watching it and I know it's not me because how could I be watching it? And again, go back to watching the TV shows or the movies or the whatever it is that you watch on the screen and how you get involved in it. You cry when things happen. You get angry when things happen. You have this visceral feeling coming up in your body like you're there and part of the motion, part of the action. Yes, that's how we experience the world. That's how we experience the world as if it was really happening to me. But it's an image on a screen, it's a sound from a speaker. It's not really happening to me at all. My overactive imagination has got me believing that I am there fighting that battle. I am there living that life. You know, dancing that dance, eating that food. I'm that my whole it's so convincing that I believe that I'm there. But again, how can I be there and see myself there at the same time? How can I be watching myself here? And here I can watch myself over and over and over. I could set up a camera everywhere in my house and see myself going everywhere. You could see me going everywhere. I could do that. Like being John Malkovich, I could be all of it. But that's all in my imagination. And so confusing that with the reality of what I am is why I'm so upset and afraid. That's why I'm so I feel so small, so incapable of defending myself because I've identified myself with this teeny tiny little thing that doesn't even exist. And yet that's my whole world. That's what I think everything is. So yeah, the ego should know that, if I knew that that was what it was up to, I would completely leave. I would not stay with something that was so intentionally causing me so much discomfort. So I guess I don't really know that because I still think I'm caught here. I still think I am this. Any other thoughts about this? This what am I and what is it? What am I this? What am I? Rafi, yes, please.
You said the magic word, which is the thing that trips us up all the time, and that's think. No thoughts, no problems. No thoughts, no ego. No thoughts, no suffering. No thoughts, no limitations. No thoughts, no lack. It's just it comes back to the all thoughts come from a fear of lack, and the fear of lack comes from the false idea that we're separate from our source. It's the simpler I keep it, the clearer it gets
Yeah.
for me. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, Rafi. And I see there's angels shining lights on you there. It's beautiful. Iris, yes, please go ahead.
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you, Rafi. That was exactly what I was thinking about this morning. And like, it was exactly that, like what Lynn was sharing about the imagination. And like, I've heard like that word being used, and like, I've kind of always just not quite like not quite the way like I realized this morning was that like there's that lesson 15 that says that my thoughts are images I have made. So I'm just going to turn to that lesson just for a second. just to remind me, lesson 15. And it makes sense. Like, my thoughts are images I have made. And then it says later on that this introductory idea to the process of image making that you call seeing. And so the images are imagination. That's the same thing. My thoughts are images I have made. So, and then I think that, like, like we've heard it said that we think that it's like that we see through the body's eyes, but that's not really the truth. And like, but the following lessons, they make really good sense. So lesson 16, I have no neutral thoughts. And then it says, everything you see is the result of your thoughts. There is no exception to this fact. And it's like the interpretation on the situation. So those are the triggers, like the interpretation. And then later on in the following lesson, it says, I see no neutral things. And then it explains very well, it is always the thought that comes first, despite the temptation to believe that it is the other way around. This is not the way that the world thinks, but you must learn that it is the way that you think. And so, like when it says, like my thoughts are images I have made, and then the thoughts come first. Like, I have no neutral thoughts. They aren't neutral. They either represent truth or they are representing illusion. And then uh, it is always the thought that comes first, despite the temptation to believe that it is the other way around. I see no neutral things. And like that just really made a lot of sense to me. Like it did make a lot of sense. And I think the trap is when, like, speaking for myself, when, like, I see something out there that I think is like a situation, and I think like this situation somehow is, quote, uh triggering or threatening, like the same thing. And like, but it's the thoughts about the situation. It's not the situation, it's the thoughts that. And that's why, like, the forgiveness, which means like forgiveness of those thoughts, that means like, not that I've done something bad, but it's that I'm just not looking at it properly. I'm not looking at it correctly. And if I could look at it, if I could see it differently, if I could look at it correctly, if I could just use a pause and like adjust my filter. And that's why, like, that, don't react, like taking that pause. It doesn't matter how long the pause is. I mean, the pause can be like a day or 2 days or a second. Like, that pause is really important. Like just to that Viktor Frankl quote comes to mind, which I really love. Like, it says, like, between stimulus and response, there is a pause, like massively paraphrased. Between stimulus and response, there is a pause. And that's where, like, it's the power, to choose, the power to make that decision, to choose again. And it's really important, and really valuable piece of advice, I think, for me to remember. Like, it's just really, really important. And it's all coming from, like, the imagination, the images. And those images are like, I see only the past, like, in I see only the past. And that is why nothing I see here means anything, because it's all like just past. And it's just really makes a lot of sense. And really makes a lot of sense. It's just making a lot of sense. And I'll hand back to Lynn.
Thank you, Iris. And it does really make a lot of sense. It does, it does, it does. It just is so crazy. And yeah, that that the understanding or the knowing that what is happening here. I think Jesus says, many times in the course that if we understood the concept, if we understood what time is, then we would know, we would see exactly how this illusion appears to be working, because it's based on this idea of time and space, which are just basically reality split into a physical and a and a distance um, uh, situation. I had that Einstein dream, Einstein and Freud having a discussion in my dream, and I wrote a poem based on. I got up in the night and I wrote a poem about it and how they were talking about how it's the same thing. But anyway, enough of that. The uh, knowing what is really happening here, as much as we can, is that we are living a dream that was written long ago. I see only the past is such an important thing to know, because everything, this me talking now is in the past. And there's no future, there's only now. So this idea, my son was telling me the other day, that there are these remote viewers who can see the future. I know about this stuff. This is stuff that's been going on since before he was born, for sure. But, but the fact is that remote viewers are not actually seeing a future. They are just seeing that section of the dream that is, a part of the whole unraveling of reality. That's all you're actually seeing, is a part of the dream, because there is no actual future, just as there is no actual past. There is only actually now. So, this whole idea that I can be doing something, that I can be doing, actually doing something now, is impossible. It's it can't happen. I'm not doing anything now, because I can't do. There's nothing to do. Nothing can be done. Yeah, that's it. I mean, nothing. Yeah, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do, and they don't know because we think we're separate. Yeah, and exactly. I know you can, Elizabeth, because I know you're aware of that space of being in this place. We're in this place, what Jesus calls it, the little gap, the tiny gap, the little interlude between then and the future that is actually now, that is only here in this breath, in this moment. That's why we can concentrate on the breath or any other thing, and bring ourselves to the moment, remembering that's where we really are. And all the rest of that stuff is the movie on the screen. And now I am the watcher, and I'm not connected in any way at all to the movie on the screen, other than observing it and commenting on it, which I do a lot of commentary. All right. Let's see. We have enough time to read this next paragraph. It's kind of longer, but who would like to read paragraph 4 of text chapter 4, section 5, the ego body illusion, paragraph 4. Looking for a hand up. Oh, looking for anyone who wants to read. And if not, then I will read. Okay, I guess I'm the reader. All right. Paragraph 4. The body is the ego's home by its own election. The body is the ego's home by its own election. This is mine. This is who I am. It is the only identification with which the ego feels safe, since the body's vulnerability is its best argument that you cannot be of God. I remember when I first read this, how blown away I was by this idea that that the ego's telling me you can't possibly be part of God because look at this. Tell me this could be of God. But and so the ego feels safe in its place because who can argue that? Yeah, this world is crap. This body is what? But and so yeah, I would tend to agree with the ego on that, right? Because if that's the only world that I know, it's the only thing I know about myself, it's the only life that I experience, then I think that this is what's real. And a big part of this training that we're doing is to get to actually have that experience of being the one with God, that experience of being one and not separate, which is our true state. That's what we're going for. But as long as the only experience I have is in the body and the world, then, and I don't have any reason at all to think that there's anything else other than in my dreams where I can fly and walk through walls, or in my imagination, or in a story I read, or on a movie I saw, or whatever. I can imagine all these things, but I can't accept them as being real or accept them as being what I am. How many times did you watch The Matrix? How many times did you watch The Matrix? And in your mind, you knew that there's something true here about me, but I'm not going to jump off that roof, right? There's something true here about me. I know this is pointing to something to me that's real and true, and I feel it and I know it, but I'm not going to jump off a roof. So, what is really happening? And so he's explaining it to us here. The ego thinks that I'm the body, and if I jump off the roof, I will die because that's all that I am. So the ego hates the body because it cannot accept it as good enough to be its home. And knows this is pitiful. This thing is a shambles. It will break if I jump off a building. Not a good place for me. Why can't I just fly away like I do in my dreams? I'm confused. And that's what Jesus says. Here is where the mind becomes actually dazed. Here's where the mind becomes actually dazed, dazed and confused, being told by the ego that it is really part of the body and that the body is its protector. The mind is also told that the body can't protect it. Therefore, and Bob says it's hard to soar with eagles when you live with turkeys. Yeah. When you think you're a turkey. All right. Uh, so the mind is also told that the body cannot protect it. Therefore, the mind asks, where can I go for protection? Oh, Cinnamon, where are you going to run to? Where can I run for protection? To which the ego replies, turn to me. The mind, and not without cause, reminds the ego that it has itself insisted that it is identified with the body. So there is no point in turning to it for protection. No point for me to turn to my own turkey body and say, I don't want to be a turkey anymore. No, the ego, the mind, not without cause, reminds the ego that it has itself insisted that it is identified with the body, so there's no point in turning to it for protection. The ego has no real answer to this because there is none. But it does have a typical solution. And you know what it is? It's smash it down. It is obliterate the question from the mind's awareness. Once out of awareness, the question can and does produce uneasiness, but it cannot be answered because it cannot be asked. See, that's what that is psychologically what the ego is doing to us. It just says, don't worry about it. Don't think about that. I mean, you're reading this course, you're reading this paragraph. How many people have got to this paragraph and said, I don't understand this. Let me go to another section. Let me talk to somebody else about it, or let me just go someplace else. I'm not going to try to figure out what he's saying here. I'm just going to, yeah, stop thinking about this for now and go do something else. And I know I did that myself for years when I read this course. I would read something, I don't get what this means, go on to the next paragraph. It'll explain it later, I'm sure. Yep, it'll explain it later. Later it comes up, well, I don't understand this. Go on to the next paragraph. I'll find out later. There is no later in any of this. It's now. It's the only time. So now if I don't understand that the ego is trying to be a tricksy trickster here and keep me in in this prison that seems to be so real and keeps me in this place where I'm terrified all the time. I'm afraid for the prison itself. It's falling apart. Things are going bad here. Things are not working the way they used to. I'm worried about the safety of the world around the prison. Yeah, what's going to happen? Are we going to have a war? People going to come and arrest me because I'm brown skinned, or what are terrible things that are going to happen? The ego is just filling me up with all the what ifs and what abouts, because it will not let me go and look at the real question. It will not let me go and look at the real question. So I'm going to move on, even though I know there's probably a lot of things that people I want to say about this, because I think it's important to get through this today, right? Because this is the question that must be asked. Where can I go for protection? Seek and ye shall find does not mean that you should seek blindly and desperately for something you would not recognize. Meaningful seeking is consciously undertaken, consciously organized, and consciously directed. The goal must be formulated clearly and kept in mind. Learning and wanting to learn are inseparable. You learn best when you believe what you are trying to learn is of value to you. However, not everything you may want to learn has lasting value. Indeed, many of the things you want to learn may be chosen because their value will not last. So, what are these things that I want to learn? I'm thinking I'm trying to learn how to speak Spanish. It's important to me. I want to speak Spanish. I want to be able to understand what Mexican people are saying. I want to be able to have conversations with them. It's important to me. I think I really want that. But that's the Tower of Babel, right? That's saying, there's differences in our language because we think we're different from each other. The real answer is not to learn to speak Spanish. The real answer is to find out and to recognize my oneness with you, and that there's no language that can hold the conversation between myself and myself. So where can I go for protection? And Jesus has put it very clearly here. Meaningful seeking is consciously undertaken, consciously organized, and consciously directed. If you read A Course in Miracles, if you go through the workbook lessons, if you read the manual for teachers, if you read the pamphlets, the psychotherapy, the song of prayer, the clarification of terms, you read these things and you see that they are consciously organized, consciously directed to move my mind from thinking about myself as this body and this thing to actually knowing myself as the Holy Son of God, knowing the truth about myself and my brothers. All this book, all this training is meant to bring us to the place where we don't have to look for where to go for protection because we know where the protection is. It is what I am. What I am needs no protection. What I am is whole and holy. What I am is not missing anything. There's no place to go, nothing to fear. And what I am cannot be attacked. I cannot attack and I cannot be attacked. That is the truth about what I am. So this is why we have to be devoted. This is why we have to be devoted. And what he's talking about, desire. I desire this more than anything. I desire my own freedom more than anything. That's learning and wanting to learn. It's inseparable. When I want it, that's when I will go for it. And that's when I will have it. And so I want to learn to speak Spanish. I'm learning to speak Spanish amazingly to me because I've tried it before many, many times and went to classes. And I remember all the stuff I learned, but I could not have a conversation with a Spanish speaking person that is any more than just rudimentary, what you would say to a toddler, basically. Basically that's how I have that conversation. But I have a tremendous desire to learn it because I don't want to be disconnected. I want connection with the people um, that I love. And Bob is saying, do our desires need to align with God's, just as must our thoughts? Yes, our desire is. I mean, we could talk about, what do you want? What is your desire? I think we were talking about that a little bit yesterday. What do you want? What is your desire? Our desire, my desire, is to know God and to know myself. So I don't have any other goal, none. And in fact, literally, that's the truth for everybody, whether they know it or not, whether you know it or not. Your true desire is to remember the truth of who you are and to remember your relationship to God and to remember God. That's your true desire, not to, get a new car or, have a healthy body or any of that stuff. Those are ego's desires. They're not mine. And my desires align with God's because God loves me and wants to hold me and love me. Never let me go. I love it. Does anybody have any thoughts? I know I'm just rambling away, but I just feel very inspired by this, and I'm inspired by everything. So Iris, yes, please go ahead.
Thank you, Lynn. Yeah, like I just had a thought a couple of days back when I woke up in the morning. It was very clear, very clear, and then it kind of like it kind of like, but it's still there. This idea that like in the course, it does say in that sentence that Exactly what does it say? One second. It's like saying that a sense of separation from God.
Yes.
A sense of separation from God is the only lack that I need correct. And like this sense of separation, this has come like this is the belief, the big belief, with the, as Dove would say, the big lie in the middle. And that comes from, that is the main source of conditioning, like this sense of separation. And this comes with all the stuff that we may have learned, like as we are like coming into the world, we're a baby, and like just exactly like in what that paragraph in Sedona Method in that chapter 6, it's saying that like when we come into the world, we are told like, oh, this is you, this is me, uh now if you're gonna be do something bad, then you'll get punished, and I have to be good because then God will be pleased. And all this stuff is like very deeply ingrained in this identity that we build when we come here. Or like, it's just really, but like when we go back to that first thought, like that when it does say in lesson 95 that I'm not separate from God, I'm one self with my creator. And like, I mean, this is the belief, the biggest belief, that I'm separate from God. And it's all psychological, it's all in the mind, like that it's been built. And from there comes the powerlessness. And like that I'm powerless, like, and all this other stuff. And this is really like the core of it, and like, I mean, if like I could just even ask myself, like, even if there may not be an answer, but like it would just be that, what would it be like if I was not separate from God? How would it be like? How would I feel? And how would it be like? And so like, and the question about desire, like, yeah, like, that, like, it's beyond that desire for whatever it is that we want, like, you know is the desire that, oh, I'll feel happy, I'll feel at peace, I'll feel content. And but I don't have that now, but I will do when I get that, whatever it is that I want, even if it's like a spiritual desire, like when I get that oneness with God, I'll be happy. Like when I get it, it's some way in the future. And like in that chapter 6 that I listen to all the time, it says like, when I it's the want that is the lack. It's the sense of wanting means it's a lack. And the sense of wanting to be one with God, like, is that lack. And when I let that go, the sense of wanting, which is equivalent to lack, I'll see that having and being are exactly the same. And like, which is really like, I think this takes like some time in our human world, like, but even in like a moment, like when I open my eyes, I can feel like I am. And I can remind myself I am. And I think it just one day somehow it dawns, like even in that split second it will dawn, I am. If I just notice that. And that is really quite amazing, incredible. And it's the same for everyone. Like, it is, I am. I am in everyone is I am. It's the same one. And it's very amazing. It's so amazing. And I'll hand back to Lynn.
Thank you, Iris. Yes, it is so amazing. And that's it. I went to that place in the book too, and where it says a sense of separation from God is the only lack you really need correct. And it's because of our distorted perception. And our perception, the next paragraph says, this idea of order of needs, which follows from the original error that one can be separated from God, requires correction at its own level before the error of perceiving levels at all can be corrected. So we have to go back to that very thing, the idea that I could be separate from God. And, once I recognize that that is the problem, then, no matter what I think the problem may be, it isn't, because here he's talking about it, the space, it's not meaningful. Space and time have no meaning in reality. Danny, yeah, please go ahead.
Oh, hi. Again, every time I say, I have to say how grateful I am for all the honey-filled truths that is only one truth expressed in various ways through everyone that is sharing. And I just wanted quickly, because I believe it's ending like at 12:30, right? Or
Sure, yeah, but take your time. Yeah.
what I wanted to share, something that I listened to this morning that kind of puts many things together for me. And it is um, related to the teaching uh, of the Eastern kind of Vedanta, it's called. And what
Sure.
I learned, and that puts the Course in Miracles and everything like in such a beautiful, logical, um, you know, way that, like, yes, everything that we like, the one word was the E, F, and then T. So E stands for experiencing, that the body. F stands for feeling, that's more the subtle. And then, like the subtle body, whatever illusion we have with past lives and things like that. And then the T is the thinking. And all of these are actually have to disappear, but they coincide with the three bodies. So the physical body, the subtle body, and the causal body. And I never understood, I heard this concept before, causal body. Why is it called causal? Because it is the cause, the deeper cause for the other two illusions. And what is this cause made of? Well, it's made of something called samskaras, which are hidden tendencies, hidden uh, desires, hidden experiences that are buried in our subconscious mind. And they are popping up either through triggers or through images, or for me, it was depressions, like inner depressions that I couldn't, self hatred beyond words that I couldn't understand where it's coming from. But those are, and the answer to all of them is exactly what people were saying. Just allow it, welcome it, be in the moment, know that there is only now, and be grateful for the samskaras, for because they are coming from the subconscious mind. So that's what I wanted to share. And I wanted also to say, I'm listening, this is all new to me, this radio program. I'm going and sometimes I wake up really early, so I listen to this. And sometimes I heard this beautiful meditation at 5 o'clock. Wow. But what happens, it goes with the previous speaker. And I'm not sure how can I stop the previous speaker and start just this amazing meditation. And that's, I'm complete with that. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Danny. Wow. Thank you. So beautiful. And yeah, several of us have been aware of or involved in the Vedanta, just as you speak in the samskaras that are what we basically come in with to this world. And I like to think of it that, we come in with these things so that we can heal them for good, for everything, for everyone, not just for ourselves. So thank you for that. And thank you for reminding me about the radio too, because yeah, sometimes my recordings that I have on go on beyond. And if that happened this morning, I really apologize for that. I will try to make a concerted effort to make sure those are shut off, because you can't, once they're from the radio side, you can't do anything about it, only from me. So I will make sure that that doesn't happen, because yeah, Prudence in the morning plays those wonderful meditations and all the wonderful stuff that Prudence plays. I'm so grateful for her, doing that, because I'm sleeping. That gives me a chance to get some rest. All right. Any other
Go, let
thoughts?
God. Let go, let God.
Love you guys so much. Now, I'm going to be going to my grandkids' birthday party this afternoon. So, looking forward to that. And we'll put some good stuff to listen to on the radio. Thank you all so very much for being here. And see you tomorrow.